to know the name, know the genius in you, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm your host, Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and in each weekly show, you're going to hear the fascinating ways other people discovered the genius in them and what they were able to accomplish. At the end of tonight's show, you'll hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. All over the world, people have many, many diverse interests. And in that vein, we ask how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset by utilizing the gifts that are seen in their name using numerology science. Our expert tonight is Gail Minogue, who has developed her genius in the area of trends and forecasting. And we had such a great show with her last year. We've asked her back on this year to do a similar thing for us this year that she did last year. Gail Minogue is a published authority in the symbolic relationship of numbers to our lives, with solid experience as a licensed commodities broker since 1987, 30 years now, and a history of offering visionary viewpoints on world events. Gail combines many disciplines to deliver wise perspectives, coupled with practical understanding of trends and events, the past, the present, and the future. Gail assists individuals and organizations to navigate the dynamics of change and become master builders of their futures in regards to relationships and business successes. She provides clients with remarkable insights through a unique combination of trends analysis and forecasting, ancient and contemporary cyclical data, Pythagorean Numerology, plus the wisdom gained from her experience in business markets and her intensive study and use of intuitive spiritual systems. Gail is a Los Angeles-based professional who reveals the symbolic relationship of numbers to our life experiences. Her specialty is integrating real-world experiences with holistic inner teachings. Through the use of sacred geometry, hermetic laws, at much data from things that have happened in the past that seem to happen again and again in cycles, and leveraging proven developmental patterns in diverse areas, Gail's able to bridge the two worlds. Clients have included major law firms, Coldwell Banker, the Boston Consulting Group, Women in Real Estate, and the Welfare to Work program of Chicago, multiple nonprofits, as well as key executives, business owners, and numerous civic organizations. Gail's books include Divine Design, How You Created Your Life You're Living, now in its third edition with the expanded content, and The Invisible System, which is the final preparation for publication. Has that now come out?
Pardon me?
Has The Invisible System now come out, Gail?
No, actually, another book has come out, and the Invisible System was actually, it's done, but it hasn't gone to print. So the other book I've done on it's really interesting. Is Are you the windshield wiper or the bug? And it's very different, but it's also it's like sage advice and things you've heard, but how they worked out in other people's lives using them. So that one seemed to be more relevant or more urgent. So that's the one that is before the Invisible Systems. But the Invisible Systems, actually, I'm doing a whole workshop on that in May, because people want to know. They're just confounded by, why does this happen at this time, and where is this coming from? And they look to the stars or astrology, or they look to numerology or the numbers. But it's all kinds of invisible systems that we are unaware of, and they need to know a little bit at least, so they can't be so frightened by these sudden changes, or how did this happen, and why did we flip on our heads over the last 8 to 10 years, stuff like that. What happened?
Well, I'm glad I asked. And anyway, I was going to say, welcome to the show. We just go right in there. So
it's nice to be here. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. Give us again on the Invisible System, like, what is one thing that you cover? Like, think of a chapter in your head and just tell us about that chapter.
Well, I would take, say, the I Ching, which is, we try to give a date to it, but it's much older, because the version that we're used to using, which is at least 5,000 years old, is actually a more modern version of the original I Ching, which probably goes back about 30,000 years. So if you're talking about the I Ching, there's periods in it, including what we call the 9 periods, and these are what we call the Jupiter periods, and that's a big issue that's affecting us right now is the Jupiter period. And 20 years prepare for it, and then 20 years you're strong in it. And so we're now preparing from 2004 to 2024 in this one invisible period from the I Ching, or the Jupiter period within it, is called the Li period, or the Li period, Li. And this represents by the female, the middle-aged female, or the middle daughter. So you're seeing from 2004 a rise in female power, and the preparatory years, I remember I said it's 20 years to prepare, and that's till 2024. So you're seeing the harassment come out, you see equal pay, you see all these things. Why now? What happened? And it's the Li period at work, and it's perfect, and it's the Jupiter period within inside the I Ching, which nobody bothers to clock the system itself. But it takes time. It takes a lot of time to really go into these different systems. But this one in particular, you're watching in the daily news every day. There's another exposure. There's another issue for female. And you're starting to see what I call middle age, which is really more like women in their 40s will be coming on the stage by 2024. So a lot of the young women that you see now are being prepared. And then from 2024 through this Jupiter period, you will see extreme power for the female. I mean, she will take off. This coming election, or this, both the midterms and the presidential election, are not nearly as important, even though they are important, as the big 2024, which launches the female, which will be women in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and the bulk of the power will be in their hands, which is hard to believe, but you're watching it being turned right now.
Well, and then
ugly.
Well, and Oprah announced that she was thinking of running for president.
Yeah, I don't think she will. She said that, but they're playing coy. Who knows? But anything's possible now. But it could be a female that will run, but that definitely will run in 2024. But whether it's a female for this one, this is still this preparatory phase. So you should see more females speaking out and showing up. But right now they have to learn how to do that. If you just take a look at how women are doing it, they don't know yet how to use power well, and they don't know yet, as this is a general statement, how to develop that confidence and to take the heat and to take the uglies that will be thrown at them, the tougher skin. But the interesting thing of the middle-aged female and why that age group is important is because the estrogen levels are lower, and that means the testosterone levels are higher, and they do very well in the power warrior positions. So
well, and I think too,
a lot of that.
Well, and with age too, I think we stop caring so much what other people think about us and whatnot, and we just want to get the job done, and we want to do it right because we want to leave the world a good place for our grandchildren.
Yes, and so you're going to see, that's why the middle age or the middle daughter, you will watch and see that some of these women of power or some of the younger women of power will be the middle daughters and the middle age. There's two families, two lines of female. So
now, see,
where they lie in the family, they'll find they're the middle daughter.
See, I love hearing that because I'm the middle daughter of 5. So I love
there
that.
You go. Your time has come, or it's coming. It's coming. 6 more years. So, and all this stuff that's out right now is so nasty. Oh, my God.
Oh, it really is. Okay, Gail, before we get to break, I want to do your name really quick. So this is the part that I love to analyze some of your name. Are you ready? Okay.
Sure.
So your name indicates that you're an agent for change, and people typically resist changing as it's easier for them to keep going in the same patterns. Yet there are those few individuals who thrive on change and assist others in a nice, smooth, logical way to become comfortable with changing. Your name also, it indicates that you're one of those people, but it also indicates a willingness to just work hard. It's whatever amount of work it takes to get the job done, to get the goal done, to get whatever it is done, that you will work and work and work until you're just exhausted, and then you get up and you start going again. It also says in your name that you make a great couch potato when you want to be, because it's like full force ahead or nothing. It's like one extreme or the other. Okay. The coolest thing in your name is that your name indicates that your life gets better with each passing year. And that as you're growing and life's getting better, you're also gaining in your own self-confidence. And then you're assisting other people to gain in their self-confidence. And so the other thing is that you're very family oriented, and that you love to support family, but it turns around a lot on you where you're the one that ends up supporting them, even though in your name it says that they ought to be supporting you more. So it's kind of like a cycle. You go in where they can support you, and then you support them. And it's just a cycle as it goes around. But another lovely thing in your name is that you can manifest anything that you desire. Anyway, we need to, yes, we need to stay tuned to know the name, know the genius in you, which is heard on xzbn.net radio and X Zone radio station, and on knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Gail sees if there's a recession anytime soon. Stay tuned.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Gwilda Wiyaka's latest book, The Science of Magic, Book of Mysteries, Volume 1, is the first book in a series based on her writings that open every episode of the Science of Magic radio show. Drawing on the subject matter of each guest, and armed with over 40 years' experience in shamanism, 35 years in alternative health, and degrees in psychology and religious studies, Gwilda introduces relevant and leading-edge information that supports spiritual evolution and personal empowerment. Rich with wisdom and inspirational quotes packaged in digestible segments, this is a book that will pull you from cover to cover. It will also serve as a daily inspirational reading for years to come. The Science of Magic Book of Mysteries, Volume 1 is available at our website, tsompublications.com, amazon.com, and wherever fine books are sold. Back in Victorian England, a famous theologian posed a perplexing riddle. Why are the two top personalities in the Bible tagged with the numbers 7 and 11? Academics agree the answer is found in the stunning discovery of a hitherto secret Bible structure explained in a new book called The Genesis Grid. The discovery is so simple that preschool children could illustrate it. Certain claims are hugely controversial and may offend some, but at the X Zone, we've studied this awesome new book and agree with one expert, and I quote, "These discoveries appear to be beyond coincidence." So who or what hid this wonderful pattern in the Bible, and what might they do next? Find out more, X Zone Nation, and read reviews on www.genesisgrid.co.uk. That's www.genesisgrid.co.uk.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Our guest tonight is Gail Minogue, whose website is her name, Gail, and Minogue is spelled Minogue.com. And Gail advises businesses, and one of the tools she utilizes is numerology when she's doing that. Gail, in like 30 seconds or less, because the majority of my listeners, I'm sure, know what numerology is, but some may not, could you just tell us what that is very simply?
Well, it's your blueprint given to you at birth. You name yourself before birth, so you have certain letters which break into a code. And then you have a date of birth, which is the learning lesson for your life or the road you're going to be on, like Highway 22 or whatever it's going to be. This is going to be your major lesson. So it tells you your lesson, your destiny, your purpose, your karma, your talents, and your timing. That's all in your name and date of birth. It's all there. So you need to recognize it and use it.
And you always want to find somebody who really knows numerology well, like Gail does, just like you want to find, if you're doing astrology, somebody who really knows it well. Okay?
Yes. Because you can go online and get a 15-minute, $10 thing, and from a computer. I never use a computer when I work with someone's name and numbers. It's completely done by me, my hand, whatever's channeling in, but it's like backwards and forwards as I know my hand is there.
Well, and you have
all these.
You have lots of years of experience too, and I think you just get better and better at your whatever your modality is as you have all that experience.
That's true. You do. The more you do it, the better you do it. If you like it. If you don't like it, the more you do it, you'll just be miserable.
Then you shouldn't be doing
love. You need to go what you really love and what is your passion, because that's an indication of your true work, and it's also an indication of what you have had experience with in prior lives.
So it's on your website, Gail. And again, everybody, it's www.gailminogue.com. You mentioned some numerology tips to remember in a recession. Like if we're ever going to go without, what are some of the things that we ought to remember?
Well, we've quote finished a recession, but so much of the what we call the remnants of the recession are still here. Even though, because we haven't had pay raises overall, it's not changed in almost 30 years, and particularly in the last 20. But what you need to know is, and every day, you need to simplify and live beneath your means. And if you need to, for 1 year, make some very practical changes. If you need to rent a room out in your house, do it. These type of things, cut out your cable and stream, do sensible things. But try to really go on a diet and live underneath the money you make for a whole year, and increase the money you make from oddball things like renting out a room. Or if you have to move out of your own place, then go downsize yourself to a smaller one. It's not unusual for someone, if you own a home but you can't afford the home, perhaps rent it out and move to something smaller so you can get past this period of where someone is having financial challenges. But it's kind of common sense. But for overall, and the other thing is, if you are also have money at risk in the markets and you're afraid and you can't afford to lose it, then park it in cash, because if you can't afford to lose that money, then you need to think twice before you're even in the markets. Then you need to have that umbrella cushion. But the big thing is live simply for a year and really try to cut out, downsize, do whatever you have to do as a general idea. And if you look at it only as 1 year I have to do this, it's not misery. It's almost like a game. I have exercises where using numbers that you can create money in 30, 60, and 90 days. It's amazing. You're working on the 369 principle of creating cash, because people don't realize there's an invisible world they're working with. They just think that the pay clerk, is either Starbucks, or the pay clerk is General Motors, or the pay clerk is, Apple. No, it isn't. All your pay clerks can go out of business. All of them. They can change. They can do all crazy things. So you have to really get really sourced to what I call the senior partner or the invisible world, where everything comes from. Any idea comes from that. So that's what I always say, is to really be conservative. This time right now is extremely conservative. It started the last week in December. It's 3 years long. Be conservative. If anything I tell people, shrink your bills, stop your subscriptions, be conservative. Conserve, because it's a contractual thing. There's less and less services and available to you.
Do you think that conservativeness is also starting to hit our schools, that the courseware is shrinking that we're trying to cover, and that students want to do less? Would that show up that way also? Because I hear that a lot from different teachers.
Yeah, this is a shrinking period. And we have kind of a double whammy we have a big Pluto transit in Capricorn, and now we have Saturn in Capricorn. And they're both, very conservative. And if you notice, before all this period started, 2008, we were just expanding. Everything was a big, huge expansion, big fat McMansion houses. And since then, everything's getting smaller in general. People have had to downsize. They had to move into apartments. The salaries, everything shrunk, and it's contracting. So this is a contractual time. And so really, you can't say the markets are helping the average person. They're really they're really helping a percentage of the general population, and it's not a very big percentage of the population.
On your website also, you have what's called the Minogue Times, and that's an informative newsletter that's published about once a month. And you have a column that's called View from the Freeway. That's my favorite on the whole thing. And it's both. Go ahead.
I stopped that newsletter because I started posting every week on my blog. So I actually don't post the newsletter anymore because it took forever. It was like doing that every month, and it was free and all that. But I am redesigning my website this year, 2018. I waited particularly for this because in 2018 is a one personal year in numerology. So it's a new website, and I will continue to do my posts, but I love my View from the Freeway. And
I do too.
I changed that really into a post. So I post every Tuesday. I just posted today, and it's called Think like a warrior. It's Think and Prepare Like a Warrior. And it's a very, very good, helpful post. Think and prepare like a warrior. And think of yourself going into battle right now.
Yeah.
And what you need to do. And it's very much a part of our life and times right now.
So you just mentioned as a universal year. Is 2018 a 2 universal year? And if it is, yes, what does that mean?
Well, it's less... it's calmer than last year. Last year was really a nut year. It was a 1 year, and it was all new things to us. We weren't used to this new president and the new antics and the new behavior and the new everything. I mean, it was just so foreign to us. It was a new beginning, and it was very chaotic. And this year is calmer. I'm not saying it's a wonderful year. It's calmer. I would expect people more talking to each other, not necessarily general population, but I'm talking about leaders. And so there won't be this shock stuff as much as it was. But from now to 2024, it's all about exposure. There has to be more exposure. So it's a calmer year. And it's a year for more patience. We all have to be much more patient. So 2 is always about patience. And use persuasion, not force. So that's kind of energies, and people don't like it because they have to be patient, and they don't want to be. They don't. That's one thing about Americans. They don't want to be patient. They're not patient people.
The other thing I see about Americans, especially when I'm traveling overseas, is a lot of Americans are very arrogant and very demanding. Do you see that diminishing any, or,
no.
People?
No. One thing about Americans, it's a 5 life path. And it has it's a marketing, action-oriented country, but it has never ever gone through this type of what I call revolution since the American Revolution. This is a revolutionary period, and this started 2008. It ends in 24. So Americans are going to get some of their teeth knocked out in the world right now, where we've been number one since, say, World War II in the 50s and 60s. We have diminished our power, and that will be more so, and we will, what I call, have to join as a nation, not necessarily the only power, but as one among many. And this is not what we're used to, but that's where we're headed.
That's
and
actually,
so
though, good news.
Yeah, some of that will take some of our arrogance away. We have to understand how to be one of many nations, not the only nation. So you're looking at our past when you see the leadership that we have now. You're looking at our past, the dying embers of when we were really the only game in town. I mean, Europe was destroyed in World War II. Japan and Asia was destroyed.
Hold that thought. We need to take another break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, heard on xzbn.net, an X-Zone radio station, and knowthename.com. This show is dedicated to knowing more about upcoming trends. After the break, we'll find out some of the different trends that Gail sees for 2018. Stay tuned.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Den.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Gail Minogue, author of Divine Design, How You Create the Life You're Living. Her website is her name, gailminogue.com, and you spell it as Gail for Gail, and Minogue is M like in Mary, I-N like in Nancy, O-G-U-E. So it's gailminogue.com. Okay, before the break, we were just talking about that what we're seeing now is really a remnant of the past. And I love it that you were saying that we were going to be doing more things as what I consider teamwork, because we're going to be one of many nations. And in a 2-year, 2 always means more than 1. So it kind of all balances together. Would you like to please finish that thought you were giving us?
Well, in the 2-year, it requires us to be much more patient than we like to be, because we're an impatient country. So I see this as much more of a routine year. As roots grow, you don't see them, but they're growing under the ground. So it's a year, this is a worldwide phenomenon. It isn't just for us, because everybody's in a 218 year. So it's not about wars as much. It's about patience, diplomacy, tact. So they'll be using more of that this year, particularly from our side. I mean, from this standpoint, it will be beneficial to us rather than forcing our way or bombing our way or, trying to just shove it down someone's throat. So it's going to be a very interesting year closer we get to the midterm elections in November. In a 2-year, very, very interesting year. But the overriding thing is it's not nearly as shocking as last year. It's calmer. And we're kind of more used to what we have to work with.
On this, you address these different trends and forecasts, and you said it's not a year for war. So I'd like to ask you about what you see for our United States relations with different countries. So first of all, what do you see with us with Russia?
Oh, Russia. Well, first of all, Russia is a declining power, even though it does very well with hacking and computer work, but it's a declining power, and it's a declining poverty country, really. This is a very odd relationship with Trump, and there's more to it. I think that it's going to be, 1,000 cuts, the Chinese method of torture. By 1,000 cuts before you're going to see what you really, when these pieces start coming together, that there's much more there. But Russia is a declining power. I don't see us being taken down by it at all. But I do see right now this has been a wake-up call for us to get our house in order, because we have a tendency to skirt on things or skirt over things. But I do not see them basically being able to. They're poor. They can't militarily back up what they show out in front. They cannot do it. And if you start to read any geopolitics on Russia and Russia's position, it's in a very vulnerable position. So no, I don't think it will. I think it will scare us. I think it will manipulate. This is what it does well. I mean, you had after the Cold War, you had brilliant people unemployed, and they were all put to learn computers, these young people, and now they have an incredible force of computer experts who can, hack and create havoc. And that's where their power is. Their power is in this. But they can't back it up the rest of the way. So it's a wake-up call to us. But no, I don't see them as a real threat, except as we allow, and we don't do anything to help ourselves, we don't take it seriously.
I know that when I was in Russia, in both St. Petersburg and Moscow, I was just astounded by the cost of everything. I mean, everything was like 5 to 10 times what it would be here in the United States. And I thought, yes. I don't see how anybody can afford anything over here, because the salaries are not
very, very
commensurate.
Poor. They can't take care of their military. It's very bad. It's very, very bad. People don't realize this. And yes, it is. It's one place you don't want to go as a tourist because it's so expensive. And it's a very, it's as I think John McCain called it. It's a big gas station run by the mafia.
Oh, wow. What a picture that gives us. Okay, let's talk about North Korea. What do you see there with us in North Korea?
North Korea doesn't want to do anything to bomb us. What they want to do is keep their country, and they want to keep their power. And so they come out like they do, but they have no intention of bombing us. Or really, they know darn well if they bombed South Korea that they would be brought down by the U.S. or they would be very, very damaged by the U.S. And the answer would be no. But we have created this boogeyman who we expect China to control, and China is not going to do that. China is now, the game that's being played right now is try to raise the tariffs on Chinese goods to get China to come to the table to help us on Korea. So watch tariffs being created by Trump against China when actually most of the aluminum and particularly steel, we only get like 2% from China. But we'll make it sound like a lot because we really try to pressure them to affect Korea, and that is not going to work.
Okay, well, China was my next one on the list. So anything else you want to add about our relationships with China?
China, we need to. China is powerful. They're getting more powerful. And I used to live in Hong Kong, and I had to go up to China. And China is wonderful at stealing other people's inventions, modifying them, using them. And China is a force to be reckoned with. They definitely are a force to be reckoned with.
When I lived in China, I remember some of the Chinese that borrowed a lawnmower, and it came back and the lawnmower didn't work anymore. And what they had done is they had actually disassembled it, tried to copy it and make their own lawnmower, and then gave it back to us, in whichever way. So we had to literally disassemble it and reassemble it correctly.
Well, just take that into account with, say, a piece of advanced equipment that we have. They're unbelievable like that. They really will try to copy any innovation. They don't care any copyrights or anything. No, their idea is to emulate rather than invent.
That's what I saw too when I was there. I saw that they could copy anything and sometimes make something that they copied a little bit better, but they couldn't come up with the original idea themselves.
They don't. They're not that type of thinking people. They're not. They're very shrewd, but they're not innovative. So they go and they steal it. They steal it.
I know, they don't do copyright laws. So I'm always concerned about everybody that sends their stuff over there to be printed or made for them. And I think, you just lost your copyright. Okay, last country, England. How are we going to be with England?
Oh, we'll be fine. And England has to get its, I don't think they're going to have another vote on Brexit. I think they will, work out, work this out over time. It's bumpy. They'll be fine because there's too much at stake. There's too much at stake, but it will take time. It will happen. They will leave. I doubt very much there'll be another vote, although they're thinking about that. But this is a time when all these nation states, whether it's, Hungary or Poland, they're all like going into their populist mode right now. As we acknowledge, the uniqueness of each place. It seems like we're falling apart, but it's all part of this Pluto transit, which is it's called death and transformation. And in a way, the United States is going through a death and a transformation, and it's revisiting the same almost exact conditions of the American Revolution. This transit has not been here in America in 240 years. It's back. And we're in the hardest years of it. We're 215 to 219. And so we've got this year and all of next year. These are really the roughest years.
You talk about this segment between up until 2024. So for people that need something really positive to look forward to, what comes after 2024, that next 20 years?
Well, the reversal, it goes to the people. The people power comes into play. See, you basically you're going to starve the people of a lot of services, And actually, the people want more government services. And yet the government we have now is going the opposite direction of less services. So people are having to form community type of behavior and take care of things that would normally be taken care of by the government. Community groups are doing it. And so what's going to happen going forward past the 2020 election is more and more people power until you get into 2024 when it really does its flip. And you begin to reverse all of this heavy corporate power. It starts to, it could be really quite nasty. Could be really nasty because the people will have had it and they will insist. And it's, again, a very revolutionary period. Compare this period from 1760, if anybody knows history, to 1778. This is the period we're in. And then what came after 1778 and came after that was the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all these things that went to the people. And we fought the war, we finished the war, and we built a nation. And this is what we're going to go through. We're going to rebuild.
Okay, stay tuned. Know the name, Know the Genius in You on xcbn.net and knowthename.com. After the break, we'll find out what Gail has in her name that has assisted her that you may have in your name as well.
Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com. The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howe will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
I'm William S. Peckham. If you enjoy a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love my novel, From Out of the Woodwork. It's the story of a young Toronto contractor, Sean Kennedy, who buys derelict homes, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. Slums just waiting to happen. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, the house fights back. Former owners unexpectedly come out of the woodwork as he starts the destruction. The apparitions come to him when he touches old books, reads hidden letters, rummages through old boxes, finds a locket or reads a discovered manuscript of a murder mystery. From Out of the Woodwork will take you from 1899 to the horror of the World Trade Center, September 11, 2001. Check out From Out of the Woodwork on my website, www.williamspeckham.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Gail Minogue, whose website is her name, and it's spelled again Gail and then Minogue.com. She's taken her ability to forecast future trends to a level where she's able to assist others better in how to prepare for the future. She does this for both individuals and for businesses. And I will tell you, from all the people I know that have used her services, they love her. And you will too. And I would really encourage you to give her a try and see the amazing things she comes up with for you. Okay, Gail. We were talking about in 2024 and 2044, the power coming back to the people from what happened in our country, like with the Constitution and all of that. And it sounds absolutely wonderful. At that time, also in our history, there were a lot of farmers and not so many big businesses. Do you see us going back where individuals are growing their own food again?
Not in particular. I mean, you can grow your own food. I think there'll be, there'll be changes in what we're doing right now, which is a lot of heavy pollution and all that. But it's not like it will be. I mean, at the time of the revolution, almost everybody was a farmer. And now it's a very tiny percentage of the population that grows the farming. But farming will change along with what people insist. If they insist that there'll be less chemicals, less whatever, then people will get that, because right now they don't have any power.
Well, and I know more and more people are doing like farm co-ops and stuff like that. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, remember the people now are, remember I said they're forming small communities because there's less and less help from the government. And the only way that people even can get health care is to have, people are traveling around and delivering health care in parking lots, to poor people. And this is a heck of a thing, but you're going to see more and more communities taking care of the communities, rather than any government help.
There's pluses and minuses there, because the people in any community know who really needs the help and who just says they need the help.
Right. And so, but people are, and because of this, it's going to make some unusual partnerships that you'd never put together. Maybe two enemies will have to come together because they have a mutual problem. And the only way they can get this problem solved is to work with this other person. Or work with this other organization, and so they do. So it's going to create a change in the population, which until we get past a certain period, particularly 3 years, we have to get past this 3-year window, 18, 19, and 20, before you start to see, and this is when you really start to get out of it, and then you really get out of it at 2024. So 2021 is where there's like, okay, guys, it's time to make the change. You've had enough power, and it's just gradually until you hit 2024, and then it's big time, and it's sudden. So I would not be surprised if people don't take to the streets. People would not be surprised if anything revolutionary starts in after 2024.
So speaking of revolutionary, our school shootings and all of that seems to be on the increase for violence. Do you see even more of that coming?
Well, we're a very violent nation, and we're becoming more so. We're very violent. And, that's not a cute answer, but we have more guns than people. And we we have this militant type of behavior, which is basically more and more control, or more and more militaristic type of, we're going to have guns in schools, and then we give our weaponry from leftover from the wars we give them to the police departments. So we're becoming more of a nation state of military structure type and more government control. So there's much more government control, and there will be for the next couple of years.
Okay,
It will
so
take to 2021 before we're released from a lot of the government control.
right. So knowing that,
Yeah.
if you're running a business, because there's so many small businesses all around here, how do the small business people protect themselves? And I'm talking about financially and for like, are they going to have to go to Bitcoin? Can they trust the banks? What would you say for a
We
small
eventually
business
will
to
go
prepare?
to a Bitcoin type of currency. We will eventually do this. There's a transit's coming in. It's coming in this year, but it's really not very effective right now. You're not going to see anything. But when it comes in and really starts to play out beginning in 2019, it will be here for 7 years. And it's during the 7-year period that we will be changing into this type of transactional arrangement, which will be Bitcoin or those type of monetary tools. We will be using this. This is something of the future, yes.
So is that also fairly similar to something like PayPal, because you never see the money? It's just numbers come and numbers go.
You'll never see the money. But PayPal is still using this system with, this system isn't going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen during the 7-year period that comes in gradually this year, but really lands in our lap next year and then works out for 7 years so it can be put together. So the whole banking system will change.
Wow,
And
that
it's hard to believe that now. It's hard to believe that now, but it's going to be required because of the controls and manipulations of these financial governments now, the powers and the way that it's all manipulated right now. And I'm not a conspiracy theory at all. It's just time. We're visiting a period of time. We will be visiting beginning next year, a period of time that was similar to between 1934 and 1942. And this is when the Federal Reserve was founded. This is when Social Security was founded. This is when a lot of things that had to do with a monetary system, even the game of Monopoly was invented during this period. So here we are back again for the first time revisiting the entire financial system. And this is an antiquated system. But the other system's not here yet. So we just have these, what we call goofy, people gambling with it. But it will become a way of the future.
And so right now, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's like what we're doing now is outdated, but what we need to be doing hasn't been invented, or they haven't come up with a system that's really going to work yet.
Yeah, and the banks would like to know how to control it. And the government would like to know how to control it. The last thing the government wants is have this type of system in play, because people can hide money all over.
Okay. Anything new that you're working on that you'd like to share?
Well, a couple of things that I think coming down the road as far as what people should be I just want, it's not so much what I'm doing, but I want to get a message out to people that this time period you're in is very temporary. It's very agonizing, but it's very temporary. And to not fall victim to it right now. It's like a message I like to get out. It's temporary. And each person, I think more and more what I'm thinking of doing is almost, and this sounds silly or crazy, but thinking more like doing a crusade across America for people to understand they have their own chart, they have their own blueprint, they're not lost. They definitely have a destiny, they definitely have talents, they definitely have a unique personality and everything in there in their timing, and they need to know what that is and how they can help themselves. And people don't have this information. They just land and then they try to figure out a street to go to, But this is something that I am considering is opening it up, how I have to do that through either internet classes or both a combination of internet teaching, visiting, all of this just to get it out.
Do you also see our education system changing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really crazy now. We're gearing people to go to college. I mean, that's the whole idea, that you gear up to go to college. And yet so many of the jobs, they don't require a college degree at all.
And then we put our people in debt because they went to college and then they can't use that education.
Yeah, we put them in debt because they went to, and then they put the stress in high school and you have to do to get into college. You don't get into a good school. It's goofy. And then the schools, it's like a profit center for them. So the whole system is got to be turned up on its head.
Yeah,
it's just,
and I see more and more people doing, even within the school system, doing classes on the internet. So more and more times people are teaching themselves and working at their own paces. That's what I've seen in schools, even more.
Yeah, there's more of that. They just have to be quality controlled on that, because there's a lot of, anything it's good also has a dark side of shoddiness. But yes, but the whole idea that you have to have a college degree, you know what it is? It's a substitute. We used to have, up until 1971, I think it was, a company would really like to know what your IQ was. So they would have you take tests before you see if you were qualified for a job. And then they said that is against law. You can't do that anymore, because that is not required for the job that the person is hiring for. So they won that in the courts. So out that went that you had to take a test before you could work for that firm. And that was one way to weed out, again, like an IQ test.
Appropriate, not subjects. Appropriate. Unfortunately,
so now,
our time is up. I wish we could continue. Yes.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Gail, for being here with us.
It's my pleasure.
Gail's name excels at assisting others to change gracefully and not be afraid of what lies ahead. This is found in her first letter, the letter G. If your name starts with G, you too have this ability to gracefully assist others embrace the change. Do you know where your genius lies? I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, signing off.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.